New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you here on a Friday evening. It's time for the good news on the New Thought Media Network. Stories that remind me we really are all in this together, and we really are creating a world that works better for everyone together. I want to say a quick shout out and a quick thank you to last week for our hosts, Reverend Barbara and Bonnie. I heard they did a great job. I haven't had a chance to see the show. It's been an incredibly busy week, but I wanted to say thank you. I have heard from several sources they did an amazing job, and were able to sit in for me. I was home officiating my brother's wedding, and I think that's a good enough excuse to take a week off. So again, Reverend Barbara, Bonnie, thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here on the New Thought Media Network and making last week's show something special. So, folks, remember, all of our episodes are available in our archives on YouTube. You can just do a search for New Thought Media Network on YouTube, and then there's a playlist there for the good news episodes. So go check those out when you get a chance. Also, please make sure you share, like, and comment. Hit those buttons. The more you interact with us, the more often Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else lets you know what we're doing. All right, our first story tonight, we're starting off in the world of technology tonight, and part of that is because a team of international researchers have identified the cause of lupus. And it's a DNA mutation and so they figured this out. They know exactly where it is. It's a mutation in the TLR7 gene. I know that may not mean much to you. It doesn't mean much to me because I'm not a geneticist. However, their analysis and findings were published in the April 27th edition of Nature, and this is really, really big news. Lupus affects around 250,000 people in the United States and the United Kingdom, and there really is no cure. Treatments are predominantly just immunosuppressors and try to dial down our systems and make it so it doesn't hurt quite as much. It has been a huge challenge to find effective treatments because of this autoimmune disease. I don't know anyone personally that has lupus or has suffered from this, and what I know is those that I've talked to that have or stories I've seen and such research I've seen, it can be pretty nasty. So this is good. Dr. Carmen Lucas, one of the co-authors of the study, said identification of the TLR7 as the cause of lupus is in this unusually severe case ended a diagnostic odyssey and brings hope for more targeted therapies for people and lupus patients likely to benefit from this. We know they're going to benefit from this. So good job, everyone there. I love when we have some good news stories, especially, and more and more and more, science and spirituality meet. In the old days, we would pray around this, and we would experience some sort of a healing of heart and mind and body. And now we have more scientific evidence that this is where we need to target. And it's not just lupus. We've got another story here. This one, Master Gene TBX2. Again, I don't know where any of this stuff is in the genome, but researchers have found a great, have really overcome a major hurdle to be able to reverse hearing loss. And what I learned about this story is that we have inner ear hair and outer ear hair, and we lose hearing because of a number of factors. The outer hair cell expands and contracts in response to the pressures of sound waves, and then amplify the sound from the inner hair cells. Now, currently, scientists can produce an artificial hair cell, but it doesn't differentiate into an inner or outer cell. About 8.5% of adults aged 55 to 64 in the United States have disabling hearing loss. This could be a big, big, big discovery. So we're now creating new cells and working with the genome there to be able to create both inner and outer hair cells. Again, the study was published in the journal Nature, and we'll make sure that we leave links to this story in the notes, in today's show notes for you. You know, folks, we get almost all of our stories over at the goodnewsnetwork.org. Those folks do a great job of finding all kinds of great news stories out in the world. We encourage you to visit their website and give them the love and the support they deserve for all the good work they do. We work from a number of sources, but I'll tell you, it's real easy to jump onto their website, get inspired, and find a whole bunch of great stories and good stories to share with you here on Friday nights on the New Thought Media Network. This next one is even more interesting. 3D printed coral reefs. This is also another game changer. Now, this is a paper that's come out of research from 4 of Israel's leading universities. And it's a 3D printing method that also incorporates not just, and the material that we're printing is built out of organic matter. Yes. So the whole idea is based on the natural structure of coral reefs, specifically off the Israeli coastal city of Eilat. And it can be adapted to other sites and other areas. The researchers used a molecular method of collecting environmental genetic information, which provides accurate data on the reef's organisms. This data is incorporated with other parameters and is fed into the 3D technology algorithm, making it possible to build a parametric interactive model of the reef. Now, on top of that, they're made of a unique ceramic that is naturally porous underwater and provides the most ideal construction and restoration needed for an affected area. This is pretty cool. One of the professors involved said, quote, 3-dimensional printing with natural materials facilitates the production of highly complex and diverse units that is not possible with the usual means of mold production. That's not mold as in the green stuff. That's mold as in the molding of these 3D printed. So great stuff here. I think this can be a game changer. You know, we've been dropping boats and ships and buses and tires and everything else off the coast of different countries for decades now, trying to rebuild and create new reef areas, which are so very vital, and we've been losing on the planet for quite a bit. This seems to take a whole new tack, and I love when we're starting to think in new ways. And that's part of what New Thought Media Network is all about, thinking in new ways, being able to envision how the world might work differently and work more collaboratively to bring forth, well, a world that works for all. Hey, not to be outdone, as we move a little bit out of the science realm and into the natural realm this evening, there's been a historic reintroduction of the Chinook salmon in California into a creek and it's happening this spring, and it's going to it's going to help to sustain the Chinook salmon in California. State and federal biologists have been busy moving these an endangered adult winter run Chinook salmon to the upper reaches of Battle Creek. The scientists have returned about 300 adult winter run salmon to native habitats above the Eagle Canyon Dam on the North Fork of Battle Creek, about 20 miles east of Cottonwood. It is one of a series of urgent actions to help the native fish survive another year, and in the midst of this very heavy drought that they're experiencing out there as well. So a whole bunch of agencies involved, and a whole bunch of people, and a whole bunch of ideas involved. But they also believe, and scientists are also working on expanding through fish hatcheries the amount of juvenile winter run Chinook salmon, so that they will be able to start releasing more salmon more often and in at various ages. So that it's really an in-depth article. Again, check it out over on New Thought Network. Check it out over on the goodnewsnetwork.org. One more story before we take a quick break here. When you think about the Detroit River, I don't know how many people think of otters. Now, you might have years and decades, maybe a century ago. In fact, the last time an otter was seen in the upper reaches of the Detroit River near Ontario was just over 100 years ago. 1918 was the last time they saw one. Now we have verified sighting, and there's a video involved of a river otter in the Detroit River, and right along the University of Windsor. What an amazing story. The river otters are making a return into what was arguably one of the more polluted rivers in the United States. And for me, that's just another example of how when we put our effort and our mind and our resources to work, there's nothing we can't achieve. And when we work in collaboration with the natural law and natural order, then all things are possible. And bringing back the river otters to Detroit, and I trust the rest of the Detroit River Basin, is a really good thing. Hey, folks, my name's Reverend Robert. You're watching the New Thought Media Network, and tonight's program, The Good News. I'm going to take a quick break, share with you just some of the things that we've got going on and some of the ways that you can be more involved with our network. I'll be back in just a moment with more good news stories. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Back with more of the good news here on the New Thought Media Network. If you wonder what you stumbled into, my name is Reverend Robert Brzezinski. Come to you every Friday evening with a collection of good news stories that we believe will remind everyone we're all in this together and we're making it work. We're creating a world that works for all one way or the other. Our next story tonight comes to us out of Europe, out of Portugal. And this one is always, you hear a lot of stories on this program about solar panel and the future of energy and EV vehicles and everything else. Here's another one. An array of over 12,000 solar panels are about to become Europe's largest floating solar park. It's going to be in a reservoir later this year. It's built by a company called EDP. And what they're looking to do is take advantage of Portugal's exceptional year-round weather. And it's become one of the leading renewable powered nations in Europe at this point. The advantage of the floating solar is that it doesn't take up any limited land space in a very small country. And the unused electricity can't be the unused electricity that can't be used pumps water into the reservoir, which can be fed through the hydropower system of the dam to create additional power. Now, dams and water have long been used as huge batteries, moving water to create electricity. I think this is another great addition. Let's float some solar panels on our local lake and create more power. Especially and it would stop the water from being evaporated. So Lake Mead, Lake Powell, I can think of a few lakes across the United States, especially across the West, as we sink a little more deeply into the drought that's happening. This could be a really good idea here in the U.S. as well. There's a video on this story, and remember, just head on over to goodnewsnetwork.org. You can check out the video and watch a bit more on that. Now, as I just mentioned, so here in the West, we've got these big, huge reservoirs. We can do these types of projects. Other places don't. And that's why I like this next story. A Bronx housing complex comes with a giant machine stomach. Basically, what it's doing is it's taking all the food scraps and all the compostable food scraps in the building and turning it into fertilizer. The building's called the Peninsula. It's going to have 740 units of affordable housing, 50,000 square feet of light industrial space. I imagine some of that will be used in this composting process. And I would imagine part of it's going to be packaging up that fertilizer and shipping it out, because you're not going to need it all right there in that building. Also have 15,000 feet of commercial space. And this looks like a really a neat idea. They got a grant from the city to help pay for the upfront costs. Everything's under construction right now. It's not complete. And they said that producing fertilizer right in the city reduces the need for it to be trucked in from afar, chipping away, even if just a bit, at New York City traffic. I think it's also going to be a secondary market where they're going to be able to move this out and get this out to other people as well. So good job here, folks. There's our great producer, Diego. Thank you, Diego. He's show us a picture here. Harp Renewables is the company that's involved in so much of this. And this is a picture of one of their successful plants, and this is at a hotel. This is a very small version of what they're going to do in this building in the Bronx. All right. Hey, here's another really interesting story that I had no idea about. We've talked about video games before, and we've talked about the good that's happening in the video game industry, not just the addictions that people experience, but the good stuff. And this is another one. Now, I did not know that. I knew about the game Call of Duty, and it's a first-person action shooter game, and you're recreating wars. It's not my kind of thing. But what I didn't know is that there is a Call of Duty endowment. And since 2003, they've been working, this endowment has been working to place veterans in meaningful employment. And they had a goal to place 100,000 veterans into meaningful employment. And that goal has been met 2 years early. Over the last 12 years, the Call of Duty Endowment says it has partnered with the most effective nonprofit veterans organizations in both the US and UK to deliver high-value job placements, which is the service most requested by veterans. To put 100,000 placements in perspective, And this comes from General James Jones, a United States Marine Corps retired, and also the co-chair of the endowment. He said the entire active duty Marine Corps is made up of just 178,000 people. So reaching 100,000 placements 2 years earlier than our goal is an accomplishment to be proud of. And there is so much more we can and should be doing to support our veterans and as they transition to civilian employment. Good work, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being a part of the change and something different. I did not know that they were doing this. And so if you didn't know, Call of Duty also holds the world record as the best-selling game of its kind ever. But Activision Blizzard is also is the game company, and they're doing great work here. They're going to get a kudos from us today for being a good corporate citizen and getting people back into meaningful work after coming home from serving our country. What a pretty cool thing. Hey, folks, we're going to take another quick break. This time, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsors and the people that make this network happen, as well as share one more idea on how you might engage with us in a face-to-face event. So let's learn a little bit more about an upcoming event, and then we're going to say thank you to our sponsors. We'll be right back with more of the good news here on the New Thought Media Network. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with you.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
We did not have a microphone on. Welcome back, dear ones. I'm Reverend Robert here on the New Thought Media Network. Welcome back. Love to share these good news stories with you, and we've got a few more before the night is over. Let me introduce you to Sammy Shelton. Sammy is 6 years old. He lives in Britain and was out on a beach with his father looking for shells and shark's teeth. And they're in an area that is known for this. Well, Sammy found a megalodon tooth. This is really actually quite unusual. It's much larger than a normal shark's tooth. Now, the megalodons were not actually a dinosaur. They evolved as the planet returned to flourishing after the dinosaurs went extinct. They're said to be 3 times bigger than a great white shark, and people hypothesize that they have the most powerful bite of any animal, land or sea, to ever live. They lived about 23 to 30 million years ago. This young man finds a shark tooth, a megalodon tooth that's at least 3 million years old, perhaps even more. How cool is this? His father says he won't let it go, even sleeps with it. But it piqued his interest in paleontology and took it to school to show his class. Congratulations, Sammy. I'm sure this will not be the last of his finds on planet Earth. I have a sense this young man will go forward and find all kinds of interesting stuff. And speaking of finding some interesting stuff, oh my God, Austin, Texas-based art collector Laura Young went into a Goodwill thrift store and found a bust underneath a table. It had a price tag of $35 on it. And now Laura does make a habit of searching thrift stores for lost art and things of that nature. And she didn't know what she had, though, because this is actually an ancient Roman bust. It is priceless. Unfortunately, she does not get to keep it. She does not get to sell it, but it has been donated to the where did that go? I had it right here. It's been donated to an art museum in Austin. There it is. The San Antonio Museum of Art is where it is right now. It'll be there through May of 2023 if you'd like to go see this. What an interesting story. She had you're looking for something, but do you know really that it could be almost 2,000 years old or more? That's what happened. Now, she found this back in 2018. The story's just coming to light today because of all the legal stuff and making sure it's authenticating it, getting it into the hands of the right people. There was some talk of returning it and to Rome. However, it did end up, that is still to be determined. Congratulations, Laura. Thank you for keeping an eye out for lost antiquities. It is, folks, we're creating a world that now it should be back. Yeah, we got it. All right. Thank you, my dear producer in the background. A little bit of technical difficulties giving me the signals that we're back with you, folks. So thank you for that. All right. Our final story here tonight. We want to introduce you to Justin Quisenberry. Justin lives in Elkhorn City, Kentucky, and being called a local hero. He heard a large explosion, walked out of his house, and saw a car near the edge of a hillside engulfed in flames. The people were starting to gather. The windows had been up for quite a while, and most people did not want to get near the car because it was on fire. Well, Justin ran forward, broke the windows. That created a tunnel of air that allowed the smoke to start moving through. He saw somebody moving, grabbed the man, and pulled him out. And this is what's cool. He saved this guy's life. Folks, I can't say that we should all run into a burning building. And the driver of the car is recovering. Justin has not made any statements that we have seen that they had here in this story. However, I would trust that if I saw something like this happening, the divine in all of us takes over, and the divine in every one of us steps forward to say, hey, I can do something here. There's a picture there of Justin with the burnt out car. Imagine running up to the vehicle that's on fire on the right there, and busting out the windows and pulling somebody out. We hear stories like this. We need to remember that these are the stories that we want to share with our friends. These are the stories we want to know that others know are out there and happening as well. All right, I'm Rev Robert. Before I get all sentimental on you, I better get out of here. Thank you for being with us on another Friday evening of the New Thought Media Network. We'll be back with this program again next week. Stay tuned. Right, coming up just in 1/2 hour from now, it is our dear friend, Pastor Michael Mangus, and his show, The Fireside Chat. Stick with us for that. I'm Rev Robert. I'm going to get out of here for now. Thank you for being with us. Until next time, dear ones, I wish you peace and richest blessings.